Welcome to the North Carolina A&T Women's Basketball Coaches Show with head coach Terrell Robinson. Here's your host, Brian Holloway.
Hello, Aggie fans, and welcome back to the A&T Women's Basketball Coaches Show featuring our head coach, Mr. Terrell Robinson. I'm your host, Brian Holloway, and we're glad you're here again for another weekly edition of our show. All in all, since the last time we joined you, we had a pretty good go of it. We went 2-1. We had wins over Campbell and Radford, and we had a little hiccup against High Point University. But those things happen, and the Aggies are back on track. This week, again, they come back and they play the number one team in the Big South Steel in Campbell, and then they have two games back-to-back against Presbyterian on February 10th and February 12th. Coach, how you doing today, man?
Doing good, B. How are you?
Man, I'm making it. I'm making it. So let's start with the bad so we can get to the good. We had a small hiccup against High Point University. How did you see that game develop from the sideline, and what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, we came off a really good game at Campbell, and during, you know, that winning streak, like I felt good playing at home, and I thought if we can get out of Campbell that we'll take care of business, you know, in Corbett against High Point. It was our 6th game in 11 days, and you know, we went about it as we've gone about it before, and just for whatever reason, like I was back in the twilight zone, man. It took me back to non-conference. I thought, you know, that we took some steps back after putting ourselves in position where we controlled our own destiny. Now we're back into where we need people to do us some favors for us to be even in position to talk about, you know, winning a championship. So it was disappointing, but, you know, we won 6 in a row, and you know, going into the Radford game, I told our young women that, you know, I'm not finna assume that they don't know what they need to fix. They just need to fix it so we can move on and hopefully attempt to try to win out the rest of the regular season.
And we are going to discuss Campbell. We have them coming up this week, so we're going to discuss the Campbell win and then the upcoming Campbell contest. Back to High Point a little bit. You know, we have been really good at getting out on the break, using our defense to make offense, getting some easy baskets in transition. It seemed High Point did a good job of just kind of limiting that for us in that particular game.
Absolutely. Hats off to them and their coaching staff. And, you know, and I told our young women, like, High Point was missing the preseason player of the year. She got injured earlier in the season, but their culture is still their culture. You know, they understand scout. They understand that this, you know, if they want to come into Corbett and win, that they needed to slow us down as far as take care of our transition. They know we like to play fast. And, you know, they did a good job in the half court. You know, it was difficult to guard. We didn't do a great job of, you know, scout and defending them. And they hit 13 threes, which is, you know, a good number to hit. They shot 32. And then right back to what I said, you know, so that means that they missed 19 shots. And that means that we had those opportunities in transition to score, and they did a good job of stopping us. Jasmine Harris didn't play a lot, you know, that game. She had an injury, you know, and she's important to us in terms of teams have to game plan for her. And Kiana Adderton and Shayla Nelson, you know, played the majority of the minutes that Jazz would normally play. And it was just a fluky game, man. We didn't shoot well from the foul line. We didn't shoot well from the field. We had more turnovers than assists. And we had to learn from it. We got to learn from it, bounce back, and get back on another winning streak.
How much did fatigue play in that, Coach? It looked like you guys had some of the shots that you normally get, the baseline jumper from Channing Scott, some of the inside looks that Jasmine Harris usually gets. How much did the fatigue play into that? Because you guys have been playing a lot lately because of the earlier postponements.
Yeah, you know, but I don't want to make any excuses, because I told our young women that the situation we're in it because of us. Like, we're not finna point fingers about COVID and the COVID protocol. You know, we could easily, you know, forfeit the games that we had to play, you know, but we wanted to give ourselves a chance. So it's not an excuse. You know, we gone about business the way we gone about it with all our games. We didn't practice the day before. We used shoot around as our prep in our first time hitting the floor because, you know, my experience, their bodies are more important than that preparation at this time of the year. If they ain't figured it out yet, then they ain't gonna figure it out. So we went about it, and again, you can't take away from High Point. They came in, took care of business. They did play on Saturday, and we played on Monday, and they hadn't played, then played us on Tuesday, and we had to turn around and play them on Wednesday. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We still got a tough one ahead of us, and we're not done making up games, and we can't make excuses if we want to be where we want to be.
And I saw somewhere where you had mentioned that, maybe you guys took playing at home for granted a little bit. How much does that play into it? Because we had kind of got into a comfort zone, scoring 80 points, that type of thing, playing really, really well at home. And we got some home games coming up today. So, this week. So how much of a lesson learned was that for your team?
You know what? We had the best crowd that we've had all season, that High Point game. And we choked. We choked from a level of performance. To be honest, offensively, I thought we played very individual style of basketball, which we hadn't played in a while. We normally shot over 50% from the field, 30-40% from the three, 15 plus assists, 10 less turnovers. And, like I said, I was in the twilight zone. I could not believe what I was seeing in coaching and how they were responding. We'd already, came from a 16-point deficit at Garner Webb, came from a tough deficit at Campbell, so we've seen adversity and, but this was the one where we couldn't come out of. And I thought we kept digging a hole for ourselves and we had a great crowd. And I hope we can have another crowd like that. We'll perform better. But it is what it is, man. We'll bounce back. We did bounce back. We'll bounce back at home.
The Aggies are at home February 8th and 10th. So make sure you come on out to Corporate Sports Center, 6 p.m. starts, and cheer our team on. We really would appreciate that. And since we're on the subject of playing multiple games in a short amount of time, you guys kind of come out of that this week with the February 10th game and February 12th game against Presbyterian. How good would that be for you guys to kind of come out of those makeup game scenarios that you're in?
As long as we get the results we want, man, it'd be good. Presbyterian is a good team. They're well coached. They have a different style like High Point, that we're going to have to adjust to and be ready for. Obviously, I think it's good that we play them back to back. So the scout is going to be limited, like it'll be more about rest and more so talking about a strategic, game plan after the first game. And yeah, it'll be good to get out of that those makeups, and we can get back to a normal schedule and normal resting and normal practicing. Like we have not practiced a lot during this span. And thankful that we've been able to only have one hiccup, and hopefully that stays true as far as moving forward if we want to win a championship.
The Aggies have won 7 out of their last 8 games. They stand 10-11 overall, 7-4 in the Big South Conference, and they got a big win over the weekend against Radford. It wasn't as big as it was here in Corbett, and you kind of mentioned that a little bit, that they were going to play better in their gym. How did you see that Radford team versus the one we beat here at Corbett Sports Center?
No, absolutely, and we watched film this morning in practice. We got up by 20 with maybe 3 minutes left in the second half. And from that moment until maybe 5 minutes into the third quarter, they went on a 20-3 run. We resorted back to some bad habits that we picked up in the High Point game, and they got back into the game, and then we woke up. Shannon Scott stepped up. Jasmine Harris had a huge offensive game, and we end up, putting them away. But you can't take for granted anybody in their gym despite their record, and that's just Division I basketball in general. And Coach McGuire is a great coach. He's won championships, and they were very well prepared. we had to really buckle down to make sure that we secured the win.
You talked about the run they made in the third quarter. They got within 3 points. How proud of you of the way your team responded to that adversity on the road? How big was that for your program?
It was huge. It was huge. But it wasn't. I couldn't really celebrate it because there were some things that I saw in the High Point game that was still showing up. Like, we know we're a talented team. We know we have weapons, but we've got to play together. We've got to defend. We can't take possessions off. We got to, offensively or defensively. And, that's what was happening, some of the little things. And I didn't call a timeout. The run happened and I let them figure it out. And they did. I sat Channing for a minute, sat Sharika for a minute, put them back in, and and they did what they needed to do so we can get the results that we want. And it is it's gut check time, man. If and I keep saying if we want to do what we say we want to do, we can't just look at the wins. We got to look at how we won, because we've got 7 games left in the tournament. And we've got to play better basketball than we're playing.
How important is it? You noticed against Radford, you established Jasmine Harris early. How important is it that she kind of gets that established early? Because like you said, the scout is somewhat about her. How important is that you get her established early? Because she had a huge night for you guys.
Yeah, Jazz she's a superior talent, man, offensively, specifically in this league. I hadn't seen anyone that can guard her. She guards herself. And if we can get her rolling and create that inside-outside type of basketball, it makes everybody else's job easier. It makes Channing's job easier, it makes Sharika's job easier, when they're trying to score the ball. She's a handful. And she's not just doing it in the paint. She's doing it outside the paint. She's got a great touch. We missed her in the High Point game, and that was a huge difference. We can't, I'm not going to deny that she's integral to our success. She's got to be consistent on both ends of the floor, and we should do what we want to do.
Let's talk about some of the players before we get into this week a little bit. Shayla Nelson is starting to get a few more minutes for you guys. Talk about her journey this season and where you see her fitting in as you guys go into the Big South tournament.
Yeah, Shay is important. She's when Jazz gets in foul trouble, prior to, Shayla has battled a knee injury during her time here in Aggieland. When Jazz got in foul trouble, I'd have to move Kiana Adderton, to the 5, but now that, Shay is healthier, you're able to move her into that position. And Shay has been in the program. She understands, all our principles. She understands our offenses. She understands our reads. Shay is someone that will give up her body. She takes charges. If Shayla Nelson plays in the game, you can guarantee she's going to get a charge or 2. And those are the most selfless acts that you can do on the court for your team. And that's how valuable she is. She will get you a couple of possessions back. But she takes care of all the details, and I try to right now put her in sparingly, get her in there for 2 or 3 minutes, get her out. Because again, sometimes her knee aggravates her and the season's long, and I know that we're going to need her down that stretch. So I try to play smart with Shay. But yeah, she's getting more minutes, getting more confidence and really helping us during the stretch.
Where do you see Jasmine Walter right now? I know coming into the season, she was a major part of what you wanted to do. She kind of plays that point guard, combo guard type position. She gets you out in transition really well, and she defends really well. Where do you see her fitting in? And has this been a tough senior year for her in and out of the lineup, I guess, with injuries?
Yeah, but she's such a positive kid. She's seen adversity, just through life. So, this here is nothing. Sorry, this is nothing that compares. So, so she takes everything in stride. She reminds me of myself. What you can control, what you can't control, you can't really worry about. She does her part in trying to take care of her body, going to rehab. But her impact, I was just finishing film with Shannon Scott, and Shannon just talked about how much of a calmness that she has on the floor with Slick, because Slick, she knows all the offensive reads, she knows all the sets, she knows all the defensive principles. She's the coach on the floor. And she makes it easy for even Sharika McNeil. I'm able to put Slick at the point and let Rika do what she wants to do and shoot that ball. Or, Sean Kelly Darks, when she's in there, I can put Slick in. And then, as you talked about defensively, she's going to disrupt anybody's best perimeter player. So, having her throughout the years is the reason why she's one of the winningest Lady Aggies that I've coached in terms of championships and wins. And she's a major part of it, and she'll be a major part of the success we'll have as long as she's healthy.
And Jamaica Tucker also played a huge role in the non-conference season. How does she fit into what you guys want to do coming down the stretch?
Yeah, DT is just getting back. And it's crazy she hadn't played since USC Upstate. And obviously we won a few games since then. And I, mentioned earlier that we hadn't really had a lot of practice time, so she's got to get her win, got to get her conditioning, got to get back into her groove. We had a practice this morning. She was trying to get back into it. But I hope by the end of the season, the next few games, we'll be able to work her back in. Didn't really see an opportunity during Radford. Hadn't really had a whole lot of game planning time, but we'll see with Campbell. But I definitely feel like doing that Presbyterian, that Thursday, Saturday, that we'll have a chance there should be a Jamaica Tucker sighting. DT she's again, another special talent, young, one of the people that I count on defensively and her versatility. So just having her back in the gym, in practice, in competition, and then hopefully having her back in the games, I'm excited about.
Outstanding. The Aggies, of course, have a tough matchup on February 8th as they play the top team in the Big South Steel. They were the top team when we played them last week as well. Nothing has changed about that. Talk about your meeting in Bowie's Creek and how well you guys played in that particular ball game as you come into this week.
Well, they like us was coming off of a makeup game. And we both had a day off and had to play, but they really played well in the first half. They made 8 threes, which gave them a pretty good lead. We both shot well from the field. We both were making shots, but they made more threes and we made twos. But we just stuck to our game plan. Wanted to make sure that we pushed the ball down, wanted to make sure that we tried to control as much as we could. They got a really good point guard. She runs that whole ship. And then just make sure that we stayed on their shooters, which we were able to. We were able to force them into some crucial turnovers towards the end of the game to stretch it out a little bit. And then, Jasmine Harris had a huge fourth quarter. She was in foul trouble the most of the game. In fourth quarter, I think she might have scored 12 points in the fourth. We just rode her home, and she made a lot of huge plays for us and made the game easy for her teammates. And we were able to get it done. By 14 points, which was a big win, beating a team like Campbell. They're number one for a reason. And we wanted to see where they were, where we measured against them. And it'd be the same thing, tomorrow, where I'm hoping that we have even better performance than the last time we was at home for our fans.
Do you expect a more intense Campbell defensive team? You guys shot a season high 53.7% against them in their gym, which is a remarkable accomplishment. Do you expect to see a little more intense defensive team in Campbell on February 8th? Absolutely.
Like everything about, them, their head coach, the way they go about their business, they're going to be ready to play tomorrow. They're going to be ready to play. They're going to, have our plays down. They play at such an intense level. Like that game at Bowie's Creek was like a championship game, a tournament championship game. And I know they're going to bring it. They just had a really big win against Longwood, who they were initially tied with. And again, they were tied and they responded at Longwood with a win, a big 13-point win. So definitely they'll be ready for us. Hopefully we'll be ready for them. The last time we played at home was not as expected, but hopefully, we'll bounce back for that. And that's what I'm gonna continue to preach with our young women. We can't have fans and then not perform. That was a great crowd out there.
There is a theme developing here, ladies and gentlemen. He was not pleased with how well they
come back
and
watch us play.
So I'm pretty sure we're going to get a better showing, because certainly that has been something that has been mentioned here several times here. The last home game, two of their better players, Faith Price and Bolden, didn't have good shooting nights for you guys. For them, how were you guys able to limit them a little bit?
Well, man, it ain't rocket science. Don't let them catch the ball. Don't let them catch the ball. And when they catch the ball, make sure you understand, their tendencies. Faith Price is one of the best shooters in our league. She's their second leading scorer. So, Faith Blackstone did a really good job of denying her and staying locked in on her shots. And Faith has a lot of length. So as soon as Price catches it, obviously her length is going to disrupt her shooting. Bolden is a handful, man. It was a team effort with her. Even though, Jasmine Harris, when she was in the game, did a good job of staying between her and the basket. But Bolden is after their point guard, Bolden is the next most important player on that team, because she can really distribute and set people up. And then the other thing is, our high-powered offense pushing in transition, that wears people down. That really also, impacts what they do on the offensive end.
The Aggies play Campbell February 8th, 6 p.m. in Colbert Sports Center. They are the top team in the Big South, so certainly will be an exciting ball game. And then the Aggies host Presbyterian in a makeup game on Thursday night as well. And so that one will be exciting as well. One more thing on Campbell. Channing Scott, 10 assists in that particular game. Man, she might give you 10 assists. She might give you 12 rebounds. She might give you 5 steals. She's got to contribute in some way. How comforting is it to have a player like that?
It's confident and it's scary too, because she's yet to really reach the peak of how good Channing Scott can be. I'm still waiting on that triple-double. The 10 assists, and I was talking to the team in reference to it actually before the High Point game. Like, how do you get, 10 assists? You get 10 assists if you understand the offensive system, you understand your teammates, and you just making easy reads. You're not overcomplicating the game. And Chan did that against Campbell. As in other games, she's been really locked in, really focused, very efficient. And that was awesome to see that and have her be the example when you're talking about, hey, just run the offense through, look for all the right options, be aggressive, but don't try to overcompensate. We got a good enough team where we shouldn't take a lot of forced shots. And Chan made it easy for a lot of people that night.
And just on that subject, and I've seen you guys play for many years, but this team shares the basketball really well. And I know your offensive system is your offensive system, but is it something about the players that you have on this particular team that just does a great job? You guys average about 15, 16 assists per game. They just do a great job of just sharing the basketball, because there's nobody that kind of stands out as the assist leader, but the ball gets shared a lot.
Yeah, we do a lot of offensive breakdowns. We watch a lot of film. We do a lot of teaching. And we got some talented people that put the ball in the hole. That's the key to assist. The person you pass it to has to make the shot. So That's right. That happens.
Before we get out of here, I want to talk a little Presbyterian. What do you see about their team? What do you like about it? They have a dynamic scorer and rebounder that leads them. What do you think about their team and what they bring into Corbett this week?
They are similar to High Point to me in terms of dictating tempo. They run a motion offense that you got to figure out. You got to know the tendencies. You got to know personnel. They run a matchup zone that sometimes look like man that is a zone, and sometimes look like zone and is a man. So, it's going to be a headache. I don't want to think about them too much right now. I'm glad it's a makeup game and we have all our bodies back to play. I want to focus on Campbell, and then we'll deal with Presbyterian when we have to deal with Presbyterian. But they're a good team and well coached, though.
Outstanding, Coach. And I know you guys will be prepared for Campbell and Presbyterian as well. Have them twice this week. Want to thank you again for joining us, Coach, and taking out your time. And we wish the Lady Aggies all the best as they try to seek those championships that you guys are after. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride. Have a good week, everybody.